Hello there. Welcome to my channel, Science of the Soul and Stars. My name is Brandon Tobias. It's an honor to have you here. This channel is all about giving you the guidance and the updates in your love situation, typically to help you reach your highest goals and your ultimate soul purpose in life. So the rest of this channel, you're getting weekly and monthly updates, horoscope updates for your astrology sign, so you can have the guidance and clarity to make those next steps. This is a special episode dedicated to helping you discover your soul's purpose through the art and science of astrology, which is my favorite thing in the world for helping you discover your purpose and help transform my life in many, many, many ways. So if you're new here and you want to be part of the Soul Tribe and get those continued updates on how to find your soul purpose, maybe through the vehicle of love and maybe just generally, be sure to hit that subscribe button and join the Soul Tribe. We'd love to have you. And be sure to hit that like button as well if you enjoyed this content. It helps this video and channel find more people so we can get them all into their soul's greatest purpose. So let's just jump right into it. I'm going to go ahead and transfer over to an astrology chart here. Now, what I'm going to do here for today's training, it's going to be a brief training. We're going to go into some of the basics around how to get your astrology chart, what astrology is, and how you can start. Okay, this is for someone who's new to relatively new-ish, looking for an explanation of how to start learning their own soul's journey through astrology. Now, before I get started, why is astrology important? What does it do? What is it here for? Astrology is an ancient science that has been practiced for thousands of years. It started with the ancient Babylonians, and basically they, through even Roman times, it was used by doctors. If you didn't have knowledge of astrology, you weren't considered a successful or valid doctor practicing medicine, which is how important, right, astrology and the stars and astronomy at that time was to these people. Of course, astronomy didn't exist. It was only, they called it astrology. Then we came up with astronomy after that. So it was very important, and really it dictates everything about the physical body, the emotional body, the soul's journey, the spiritual body, the spiritual journey. And what I use it for, and we use it today in modern times, is to really know ourselves, right? We live in a society where we are all very much conditioned to act in a certain way, be a certain way, do the same thing as your father, your mother did, and follow your conditioning and not your soul's purpose. And if you're resonating with this, I was exactly one of those people where I love my family to death, but they raised me to believe I should be doing things that are completely out of alignment with who I really am on a soul level. And it took me all the way until, this last couple of years that I've been studying to find out what I'm here to do. So that's what astrology can do for you. And that's what I'm here to teach you of. So let's get started. First things first, if you don't have a copy of your birth chart, go to cafeastrology.com, or you can look up any natal birth chart generator on Google or YouTube. And you want to have your birth time, your birth location, and your birthday, of course. Those three pieces of information are critical. You want to pop that into any birth chart generator. Cafe Astrology is a great place to start. And when you do that, it should be free, you'll get a chart looking like this, and you'll get a bunch of descriptions, okay? This app is called Ephemeris for anyone who wants to use that. And you'll get a couple things, all right? You'll get everything from your sun sign, your moon sign, what's called your rising sign, and your ascendant. You'll get all where your planets are at, what houses, what signs, okay? And you'll get descriptions for all of that, all right? Now, if you're just getting started, okay, today we're going to dive into a couple of the most important fundamental pieces of knowledge that are not normally studied in astrology that can help you understand your path, all right, in this lifetime. And it's called the South Node, the North Node, and Pluto. Three pieces of astrology I'm going to show you today that can unlock and make more sense of your soul's journey and your soul's purpose in a very short amount of time. So this is my highest recommendation. So I'm taking this chart. This is not anyone's personal birth chart. This is just the current chart of now at the time of this recording, March 30th, 2021, 10:22 p.m. Okay, so we're going to imagine that this is someone's birth chart, and we're going to be reading as if this was someone's actual birthday, okay, if they were born at this particular moment in time, at this place, all right, and I'm going to read it as if this was a person, but it's actually what's going on now. So you can see here this funny looking thing right here. We just check, yeah, okay, everything's good on the recording. This funny looking symbol here, it's called the south node. It's an upside down U. We have the north node here, okay? Also known as K2, the south node, and Rahu in Vedic astrology. And this north node it means someone's ultimate outcome of a soul destiny. What area of life are you ultimately headed towards? What are you becoming? What are all of your life experiences teaching you and developing you towards? All right? And what is kind of the area of life that is most foreign and or uncomfortable for you to branch out towards? That is the north node in a nutshell. Okay, that is one of the most important pieces of the astrology chart as I know it. South node, okay, south node is both your conditioning in this lifetime, how and in what ways you've been conditioned to be. Excuse me, could be your beliefs that you were raised with. Even if you believe in past lives, which I do, but not everyone does, okay? If you believe in past lives, it's who you were up to this point and what you've mastered in your past lives, in your past life and past lives. So who you're coming from, right? Now, let's say you've lived a whole lifetime as someone with 12th house expertise, which I'll talk about in a second, that means you're already an expert in that area. That means you're already naturally good at that area. You have mastered that area. You have skills in that area, right? You have natural talents. That's where talent comes in astrology. And so most people, right, they'll have some expertise in that south node area, or they'll be known for that. They may even be able to make money from that, but they aren't necessarily here to do that or those things for this lifetime. In fact, if they continue to do those things for a lifetime, they'll get stagnant, they'll get bored, they'll get, kind of abused by life in some ways, even taken advantage of sometimes. So south node is not where you want to stay, but it's something that can definitely make your life very successful in many ways. And then Pluto, okay, so that was south node, north node. Pluto, which we'll find right now is here in Capricorn. And this person, if this was a chart, this would be the first house Pluto in Capricorn. Nice. Is all about the soul's juiciest, what makes life the most juicy. All right. What makes life light you up from the inside out. It's the deepest soul's excitement, deepest soul's pleasure, and deepest soul's fulfillment. It's if you do your Pluto work in this lifetime, wherever Pluto's at, in whatever house and whatever sign, energetically, that's what makes you come alive. That's the Ace of Wands in tarot, okay? The strength card, right? Gives you the courage, the strength, the juiciness to move forward. So you always, always, always want to be involved with your Pluto work or know where your Pluto's at to understand what makes life fulfilling for you, all right? So we're just going to cover that today. Future videos, we'll go over other stuff, but I want to give you guys tangible, concrete information on the South Node, North Node, and give some examples, okay? I'm going to give maybe 2 or 3 examples for each one. We're going to try and keep this video short, maybe around 20, 25 minutes or so, and I kind of want to get you guys feedback. If you guys like this content, if you want more of it, you know, if we find a lot of people, I'm going to keep making content like this, and if not, that's okay. I'm enjoying it just as much as you guys are. So let's start. So you want to have your chart in front of you first and foremost. So if you don't already have it, go to one of those websites, Cafe Astrology, whatever. Get your chart done. Come up and have this, just be looking at this screen. And I want you to find your South Node, okay, your South Node. And I want you to find first, what house is that South Node in, okay? What house is it in? That is the area of life. The area of life, because all of the houses in astrology represent a different area of life, okay? Signs represent the dominant energy or the way in which that area of life will feel or go, right? Energetically, right? It's the theme energetically of that area of life for you in your chart. That's how you look at houses versus signs, all right? As you can see here, there's 12 houses and there's 12 signs. And in every single birth chart, they're all uniquely placed, all right? And there'll be another video, I'm sure, where I'll go over each of the houses and signs in depth. If not, I'm definitely going to be making an astrology course, so look out for that soon, where I'll be going in through all of that very much in depth in a channeled way. But, okay, first of all, you want to look at where the house that the South Node is in. And first just stop with that. Okay, you want to go, okay, let's say your south node is in the 12th house. Let's just take that as an example. You guys can see how I look at this. South node's in the 12th, meaning 12th house is what? The 12th house is the area of spirituality, consciousness, the area of God, possibly religion, but understanding what's underneath the surface and the other parts of all of what animates life. That is basically the 12th house in a nutshell. It's the higher self, God, universal consciousness, right? Spirituality, the understanding of that, how it's all working, the quantum field, right? This is 12th house stuff. So let's say if someone had this person, right? We'll just call him B. If B had south node in the 12th house, it means he's already got a natural ability to have a fundamental understanding of how consciousness works in this lifetime. He might have natural interest and curiosities towards consciousness, figuring out consciousness, knowing about consciousness, being very much an underneath the surface type of person, okay, very much involved in his own private world, okay, of sorts, and he sees the world maybe a little bit through a lens of this mysticism, right, this mystical part of reality that not a lot of people live in. Okay, so he's already kind of got those, he's mastered that ability to know what's underneath the surface, all right, what's really kind of animating everything. That's just the area of life, right? We could understand all of that just from one thing. Now we have to put on the the sign. You can see here it's in Sagittarius. Okay, so you know what sign is animating which house by where this, we call it a cusp, this line here that dictates the difference between the 11th house here and the 12th house. We call this a cusp. And you see where the cusp of the 12th house, what sign that's hitting, and that's hitting Sagittarius here. So that's how you know his 12th house is in Sagittarius. Okay, so let's just take this as an example. Now you guys will see how I'll combine sign with house. So you guys can do this with your own chart. But 12th house is all those things I just mentioned. Now, how energetically does that manifest itself in this person's life? How does that come to, in what ways energetically does this come across in his life? Well, how would it manifest actually, right? This is what the sign is going to dictate. With it in Sagittarius, right, we can say that his quest for understanding, deep levels of consciousness, deep, far new frontiers of spirituality and consciousness, right, and having these sort of introspective adventures when it comes to understanding and exploring consciousness, to the furthest depths beyond, so that he or she can have this experience of the consciousness that he can then be able to teach, right? So Sagittarius, of course, the energy here is wanting to kind of go on this quest or this adventure in order to have these experiences, right? Maybe even traveling to far off distances, but this would be within consciousness in order to come back and to, right, have this ability to share and teach their wisdom. So this could be someone, if we take that all to a practical level of everyday life, what that could mean outside of the symbolic perspective, maybe someone who enjoys psychedelic medicine, because this is, someone who's a psychonaut, right? Someone who would enjoy having an adventure into consciousness, right? And that's one thing that would do that. So then you take all of that and you distill it down to how would that apply? Here's the difference in astrologers that makes this form of what I'm saying different. Is then you take all of that and you say, how does that apply in modern day life? It's great that I have the general theme of what this would mean, but if I say that to most people, they would go, okay, well, how does that relate to my life? Well, I'd go, well, what are the ways in which you find yourself exploring consciousness? Or what are the ways in which you found you've mastered the exploration of consciousness? And they might go, well, yeah, I partake in, cannabis regularly, and I explore my own consciousness, or I hold and host psychedelic ceremonies, whatever it is. So then okay, there's the foundation of where someone's at, what they've mastered, okay? So pretty cool stuff. That's the south node. And we didn't even get into anything else, but, I'll take a couple other examples here, and then you guys can, with everything I say, I just want to show you, for these lessons, I just want to show you guys how I actually do this. the process of it. So then you guys can go look at your chart, see where your south node is, and north node and Pluto, and then kind of extrapolate, or you can even look up the information, house, sign, and then apply it to your everyday life, right? That's the process that you take here. Just keep it simple. 1, 2, 3. House, right? What area of life? Sign. How does that area of life manifest itself in this person's life? And then apply it to everyday life. What does that actually look like in my life? All right. How is this showing up in my life on a tangible, actualized level? Okay. So, sorry, I had to pause the video for a second. So that's south node. Let me just take a couple others so we can kind of play around with this combination and you guys can see a couple more examples. Let's take south node 8th house. South node 8th house, if we had it right here in Virgo. All right, so south node 8th house, Virgo. I don't actually know the name of this. This is the one asteroid I don't know the name of yet, but I'm still learning the asteroids. But so forgive me, but it would be conjunct whatever this asteroid is. So I'm going to disregard that for the time being. But south node 8th house, Virgo. Okay, so step 1, the area of life, right? What is the 8th house? Well, 8th house is the house of death, sex, rebirth, regeneration, birth itself, okay, transformation, magic, occultism, okay, darkness generally, and the unknown. The unknown. Okay, so it's kind of, ironically, it's funny I chose this. It's almost like the dark side of the 12th house. I always like to see it as the reciprocal energy to the 12th house in some ways. You know, obviously the 6th house is more so that technically, but, you know, energetically I always felt that the 8th house is that. Anyways, it's kind of the human side of esoteric knowledge, occultism, magic kind of world, right, within reality in Virgo. Okay. So anyways, if the south node was here, someone you could expect would have had a very kind of a dark life, all right? Not and dark, when I mean dark, it's like they're exposed to experiences that are potentially really unnerving, all right? Unnerving, potentially even traumatic, testing, really deep and transformative, but also very strenuous, okay? There could be death involved within their life in some way, shape, or form in terms of what they're, you know, seeing around them or being a witness to, right? Death, sometimes even like involved in some type of, you know, sexual trauma or abuse, because what's happening here is South Node is trying to, through their experiences in early life and also through past lives, get them to remember what they're here for, what they came in with, right? So they're experts when it comes to and very comfortable and somewhat familiar with the darker sides of life, the being in the unknown, right? In the depths of what life has to offer, right? With sexuality, with death, with rebirth. So someone with a very fascinating, interesting, and potentially dark history to them, right? And even someone who has a natural sort of tendency or curiosity towards the occultism and magic and ceremony and things like of that nature. Okay, so someone with the 8th house, I mean, they're very they're powerful, by the way, too. They're very powerful presence energetically. So you definitely got to be wary of people with the 8th house, you know, South Node. Not that they're bad people, but they're powerful and they have abilities that they might not even be aware of most of the time. Okay. In terms of magic and actually very psychic as well most of the times. So that's 8th house. So that's someone with a South Node there would have those characteristics. Now Virgo, interestingly, someone in Virgo here, they're going to be very potentially quieter, shy, reserved, all right? And very much maybe I would say like a low-key, very, very kind of reserved and private sort of magical practitioner of some sort, right? It's almost like I can see someone in the closet, like having things in the closet where their whole rest of their life is very kind of in order and everything's very kind of appearing to be normal. But in their closet, they have these kind of darker tribal ceremonial robes that they hide from everyone. The skeletons in the closet, so to speak, is what comes up with Virgo, 8th house here. South Node. So it's almost like this secret hidden life that is a bit of a pillar for them to stand on, or a foundation of who they are that helps them to be potentially more firm or set in who they are in everyday life, is what comes to mind here with 8th house Virgo energy. Very interesting combination, actually. I would note, very interesting combination. Someone that is a very, very unique person. I will say that to the least. Okay. So that would be 8th house. And then, so you look at, again, what do I do? House, sign, and then how do you kind of get that out? I'll do one more quickly, and that'll be South Node, 5th house in Taurus. Okay. So 5th house being the house of creativity, expression, and fun encounters, even fun sexual casual encounters, but expressing yourself creatively to the world, so the world can see and feel that expression. South Node here in Taurus, right? This person would have a natural ability to light a room up, a natural ability to be easygoing, fun-loving, enjoying life, and just kind of live life in a very casual but entertaining way, right? They might have be very quick to go in with things that are very pleasurable, things that are very lighthearted. They may not want to be very serious a lot of the time, but they're very good at this, right? So they have a talent for finding ways to entertain themselves and others, and to express themselves and be seen through that expression in the world. It's a natural thing for them. With it in Taurus, this is almost a very kind of interesting combination as well. But I would say the ways in which that someone would express this would be more in a, I would say, somewhat reserved and or sensual way. So it's almost like this person, because Taurus, ruled by Venus, and the theme that comes here is like sensuality and sexuality, and the expression of that side of the earthly pleasures of life, and the indulgence of those earthly pleasures of life to an extent that it might be a little bit overindulgent, right? I would say, in terms of the expression of sensuality and sexuality, the indulgence of even things like food and art, and it's just the richest pleasures of life. This is someone who would be very consumed with that and very talented at being able to know how to live the fine life, if you know what I mean. So that would be just that example there. Okay, so we've gone over a couple examples there. I think by now you guys get the point. But again, be sure to take your South Node and extrapolate to wherever you want to, wherever it is in your house and your sign. All right, let's talk about a couple fundamentals of the North Node. I'm going to keep this video, again, relatively short. We're already past 22 minutes, so we'll wrap it up here in a few minutes. North Node here. Okay, let's just take this example. So North Node in the 6th house in Gemini. Again, what is North Node? It's where your soul is headed to. All right? So where your soul's going. So it's also the area of life. Again, if South Node is what you've mastered and what you're already good at, where you're coming from in terms of your conditioning, your experiences in life, and your past lives, potentially, if you believe in that, North Node is what you haven't experienced yet. It's where you're going. It's what may be uncomfortable. It's what your soul's seeking to stretch into in this lifetime. And all of your life experiences, believe it or not, are here to kind of shape and mold you and kind of put you into a place energetically where you can reach your North Node. Now, especially if you're in a twin soul, twin flame relationship, right, which is what this channel is about in part, someone who is, basically your counterpart that helps you to grow on a soul level to reach your ultimate soul purpose, which is your North Node. This is how you're changing with their presence. This is what they're creating within you just by being with them, which is very difficult. Okay. And all other experiences in life, right? They're trying to get you back on track with your North Node. So that's North Node. So when you're on your North Node track, though, although things are uncomfortable, they also feel good. They feel rewarding. They feel like things are in flow. It feels like you're making progress, and you feel good about yourself. That's North Node. You feel good about yourself. You feel accomplished. You feel challenged in a positive way, right? You feel like you're making progress and that you're making the most of your life. That's North Node, okay? So it's important to do North Node as well. It's important to, as you guys can see, live out your South Node in some ways, live out your North Node, and live out Pluto, which we'll talk about next. That's North Node in a nutshell. Let's just take this example. 6th house North Node in Gemini here, conjunct Mars. We'll take conjunction with Mars since this is an actual example. With North Node in the 6th house, right, someone is learning to be more of a practical day-to-day service for people. They're learning to go from spiritual woo-woo land, right, in the mystical world and say, how do I actually be of service here on the earth? How do I actually take my skills that I know, my knowledge, and bring it to a people in a way that's helpful, really actually helpful, right? That's where they're trying to go. That's where life is trying to get them. So in this example, you might have someone who loves to be in that other world, is maybe coming from a place where they're always on psychedelics, or they're trying to get to that next level, or they're trying to explore consciousness. And yet, because the North Node is in the 6th house, life forces them to have a job all the time where they can't do that. Or it forces them to not have money unless they work all the time. Or it forces them to be around people who, or it doesn't force them, but it constantly is giving them opportunities to be around people who are more hardworking and practical. This is what this person would likely experience if they were living this life. With this in a conjunction to the Mars, okay, we'll take a planet as well, and then we'll take the sign. This is another aspect, by the way. If you have any planets conjuncting or in a conjunction with South or North Node, you basically have to combine those energies together. As you guys will see in this example, I'll take Mars and merge it with the North Node. So part of this person's destiny also, along with everything I just said, is to become a very strong, courageous, and potentially a dominant, worker, right? Someone who has a lot of, who can harness their energy, more of their masculine energy in this lifetime, to be of service and to put that towards the work and everyday aspects of life, right? So life is going to try and develop that side of them, even though they may be uncomfortable with that, right? Especially with 12th house South Node and Sag with Juno here about 11 degrees away, right? That might not be their style. They might be more feminine naturally. They might be someone who's more, right, looking or romanticizing love, or comfortable just being in love, when really they're meant to be hard worker for service in more of a masculine, service-oriented energy. So that's Mars here, conjunct the North Node. And then with it in Gemini, to add that extra layer on that, they're here to be of service and to put in the work when it comes to an intellectual manner, when it comes to being able to analytically and logically understand and through that knowledge and ascertainment of knowledge, communicate and speak and be of service in a way where they can give their intellectual efforts to other people, to the world, to their job, to their everyday life, that it is in a way mutually beneficial for everyone. So that's what I would say, right? So you're going from this, you can see how it's so different, right? Why the South Node to North Node journey is so important, because you're going to the opposite area that you're naturally comfortable with. You see that? Okay. So we'll go over a couple more examples. We'll wrap it up with Pluto, and then we'll close this video down. So let's just say North Node, 1st house. Yeah? North Node, 1st house in Capricorn. All right. Someone who is coming from a South Node of 7th house. So it's always the opposite, by the way. Wherever you go, North Node, South Node is completely opposite, and vice versa. South Node, 7th house, all right, in Cancer, coming into 1st house, Capricorn. Someone who, again, is more in their feminine and also reliant potentially upon other people to support them and to collaborate with in order to feel and be okay and nurtured and successful in their life. Someone who's also very able to and, again, willing to engage in those collaborations and partnerships in order to be fully who they are. That's South Node, 7th house, if we had South Node here in Cancer, right? Coming into North Node, 1st house, right? This would be someone who's destined to become an independently responsible, hard-working person. If we add the conjunction with Pluto here, if we just for fun, right? Someone who is transformationally able to put in the work in an independent manner that is productive for themselves and for the world, right? Because Capricorn is also about the world. So someone who's becoming a leader, but also stable and independent within their own self and confident within their own self in a transformational way, that is very much, it's almost like this destined feeling of, this destined leadership potential is what I'm getting here with first house Capricorn and Pluto, destined leadership potential that this person would emanate energetically, because this first house is also physical body and physical being. So this person would likely emanate this powerful, leadership-oriented, transformational energy with and around himself, him or herself, and everyone around them. All right, so that's North Node first house. So anyways, you guys can see the general disc thing there about how I explain it. And I'll talk about Pluto here, and then we'll close out. Pluto, all right, so Pluto, remember, is what makes life feel juicy, what makes life feel exciting, what makes life feel like it's on fire from the deepest parts of your soul. Now, I just kind of talked about Pluto. We'll talk about it singled out, like it was, like this is an example here. First house, and then we'll take some other examples. First house, Pluto and Capricorn, okay? This person only feels alive or strong or passionate, like their passion is alive when they are independent, when they are working towards a goal, most likely within themselves or within their body. So this person, I would definitely recommend does like consistent workouts, okay? Because Pluto, first house Capricorn, they probably don't feel good about themselves unless they're fit, unless they're consistently working on themselves and coming into a way of depending on themselves as a person, as a leader, stable within themselves, and also physically fit. All right, so Pluto in the first house, I've seen this many times. This is this really just, this energy that's very strong, very strong, especially with it in Capricorn. This person would have an overwhelmingly hefty physical, energetic presence that other people can feel. And this person's probably aware of this, right? Oftentimes, people with Pluto in the first house, they'll be a little bit intimidated by their own energy because they say other people feel it and they get scared off. Well, that's just the essence of Pluto here, first house. But anyways, they're working on discovering more of that within themselves with Pluto here, working to, unleash the potential of it and working to hone it in. And so it can be very much utilized in the best of ways. That's Pluto first house. What would make someone feel really good? And so if I would take that down to something modern, working out, doing stuff physical, maybe even doing martial arts, right? Doing something that's disciplined and sturdy for them in their own body. Okay. Let me take a couple examples for that. Pluto, fourth house, Taurus. Now we'll go Aries since we did Taurus for the other one. Fourth house, Aries here, Pluto. Okay. Someone is never going to feel fulfilled unless they are the boldly making progress or being a leader in some sort of way when it comes to the family, creating a family, being within a family, or kind of making strides when it comes to family in life generally. Okay, the home life. All right. So this is someone who is very much deeply fulfilled, right, and deeply passionate and deeply boldly courageous when it comes to, having and creating and being within a family dynamic, a home dynamic, maybe even having a family of their own, creating a family of their own, being like making a new style of family with Aries there, right? That's a unique combination, I would say, as well. Aries and Cancer energy. Okay, but someone here who, if they don't stay connected to or involved with family, they're not going to feel like they have a root or a foundation to step off of, and they're going to feel drained, right? That's what I would say with fourth house Pluto in Aries. And then let's take one more. Pluto in the, we'll go 10th house. 10th house Scorpio here. Good one. Pluto, yeah, that's going to be an intense one, right? Pluto, 10th house Scorpio. We'll say conjunct the moon, just for fun. So first thing we do, Pluto, 10th house. Life doesn't feel fulfilling. Life feels most, I'll switch the language. Life feels most passionate, most engaging, most juicy and fulfilling and lit up when I am doing work for the world, when I am being seen and putting out and creating a legacy for the world, for myself and potentially for my family or because of my family. That's 10th house, right? In Scorpio, let's go conjunct the moon first. We'll go planet and then sign. That's the order of why you do it. Conjunct the moon, all right? Life feels most passionate and fulfilling for me, right? 10th house, Pluto. When I'm doing my work lit up for the world, but it's coming from an emotionally authentic place within me. That my expression for and to the world, my legacy, is truly from a heart-centered place within my own life and the work that I'm doing, that is from my truest self, right? My private inner self, right? With the moon there. And so this is someone who comes from the heart and comes from the heart alone when it comes to their legacy and their work. Someone who's very authentic and heart-centered. With it in Scorpio, let's just say Pluto conjunct the moon in Scorpio in the 10th, wow, that is an emotional powerhouse, by the way, an emotional powerhouse of expression who's darn sure going to leave all of it on the table, who's going to give everything they possibly have from the depths of their soul for and to the world and leave quite a big mark on it, a deep mark of an impact, right? A transformational impact for the world. So someone who is really relentlessly able to share through their own authenticity a piece of themselves, right? That ends up as a lasting legacy of work for the world that they're forever known by. And that's what I would say. That would be a very powerful combination, by the way. Pluto and Scorpio, obviously, by itself is quite intense. Whatever, area that is, there's a group of people, millennials, I believe, that have that. But this would be one that is meant to do something great with that in the world. Okay. So, guys, I'm going to close this out. I don't want to give too much too fast. There's so much more depth that I could go into. We've almost gone 40 minutes. I want to start with that and just get your guys' feedback. This is a newer potential series I could start to go more into. I am, in the near future here, going to be working on an astrology course, which will really go in depth with these things. We'll probably go through each house and sign, as well as a tarot course. So if you guys are interested in that, leave a comment below and let me know so I can start to create that as soon as possible. Let me know what questions you have as well in the comments below. I'd love to hear your feedback, your thoughts, and how or if this resonated with you, and if you have any general logistical questions about how to get your chart and yada, yada, yada. But biggest thing is just go to Cafe Astrology, get your chart done. You can read some of the descriptions, but I recommend looking at your South Node first and seeing where and how that resonates with your background, who you are, your conditioning, and what you're already a master in that you've come into this lifetime with, and then going from there. Okay? So this was the first video of this type on your soul's purpose. Let me know how it goes. In the future, I might do some just more in-depth kind of, what do the aspects to the South and North Node mean? Like other things that can indicate career, soul purpose, things like that. But this is my personal methodology. When I look at a client's chart, it's the first area I go because it gives me the story of who they are and where they're going. All right. So thank you guys. If you want more content like this, again, let me know, and be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. We'd love to have you as part of the Soul family. And be sure to hit that like button if you enjoyed this video. It helps this channel video be seen by more people. And I appreciate you guys. Thanks so much. And I will see you next time. Bye for now.